Did you know that Google personalizes many searches by city, and Also Asked is the only tool to access live People Also Ask data at city level? Try for free at alsoasked.com.
I was going to say that SEO with Fat Joe is as peaceful as this, but then the birds are all having fights.
Tired of SEO guesswork? Quadra's AI agent goes deeper to uncover high-impact optimizations and completes hours of SEO in minutes. Get started now.
So search for me at the moment is the most exciting it's been for probably the last 10 years. I've been involved directly for the last 7 years, indirectly for that 10-year time, messing about with SEO when we could just tag keywords in things. And I think that, meta keywords, sorry. And I think that search now is the most exciting it's ever been. And that led me to come up with a proposition that I'm going to walk us throughout the next sort of 18 minutes, 19 minutes, called Search Everywhere, which looks at social search and looks at discoverability. Cool story about Search Everywhere, you see the little trademark at the end here. Going back to what was just said around me seeing an opportunity and taking the plunge. My previous employer, I was building this proposition there and working on this proposition and made the mistake of saying, so it's search everywhere, people are moving and we're searching everywhere. And the CEO at the agency said, we like that, we're going to trademark it. And I said, no, you're not. I'm going to trademark it. So I trademarked it that day, got sacked the day after. And Deviation was launched quickly after that. So in order to get into this, we need to take a step back. We need to understand what organic specifically, because I know we've got some HeroConf folks around. What does organic search look like? What does content mean in terms of organic search? And to me, organic search is about getting content in front of audiences in a way that engages those audiences on platforms that they're actually spending time browsing. I'm going to reveal a little bit about my sort of search behavior here, but that means that this TikTok, this Reddit, and this YouTube screenshot example, these are all examples of discovery. They're all examples of curiosity. And as far as we're concerned at Deviation, these are examples of search. So a little bit about me. I'm Liddell, as I've sort of gave away. I'm the co-founder of Deviation, and I've been in the SEO game for 7 years now. So yeah, let's get into it. So to me now, search is not just a platform like we can see on this top row here. Search is very much a behavior. We've seen this transition to where audiences are embracing platforms that you can see across the bottom here. So we've got likes of Reddit, Pinterest, TikTok, YouTube, Discord, and AI platforms as well starting to enter the conversation around discovery and around search. So it's not just social search, it is an AI conversation as well, but ultimately search is now a behavior. Gen Z, they do not use Google as a verb. They are not just going and Googling it, and they're using all of these other platforms. So in a world where audiences are searching everywhere, attention is going to become everything, and that means that we as search marketers and social media marketers, we need to demand it. So let's get into how we do that. This research by SparkToro really started to spark a little bit of an interest in this for me, or more of an interest. We can see here that Google is still massively responsible for sending traffic to our websites. So you see that at face value and you go, okay, Google's massively important. I need to be doing content on Google and getting content onto Google. But if we flip this and look at the second piece of SparkToro research, they actually found that people are spending double the amount of time on social media and then on platforms like e-commerce platforms, TikTok Shop, Amazon, the likes, news platforms, and productivity tools. So what this means is that this first chart could be a little bit skewed in terms of our discovery, because actually we're not spending time on 10 blue links on a Google SERP. We're spending time on the platforms that I've just been through on this search everywhere landscape. We've all seen this quote. Now I'm sick of seeing it, but I can't replace it because it's so powerful and impactful. Google have acknowledged that this is happening. Okay, so we saw this, I think first time was 2021 that this got quoted, maybe 2022. But essentially they're acknowledging that young people are moving away from Google to find recommendations and to essentially discover solutions to problems. I think this was around Google Maps for places for lunch. And that's supported by other pieces of research now. So we can see that Gen Z are using Google 25% less and they're preferring social media for searches. 41% have admitted to using TikTok for search. 76% have used social media to search for discovery of brands, products and experiences. But interestingly, it's no longer just young people anymore. We have a situation where this research by Ofcom shows us that 2 million adults in the UK actually stopped using Google last year. So this is no longer just, oh, it's the young cool kids that are starting a movement. This is now a bit of a search revolution, and this is a good indicator that people are moving away from Google in force. You can see that they've started to embrace YouTube there. The older audiences are embracing YouTube as that replacement, but it is that search everywhere landscape that's going to come into the fore into the next couple of years. So this was a GIF, but it's a PDF, so it's not going to work. But if you follow me, you've definitely seen this GIF before because it's my favourite GIF in the world. But essentially, I'll recreate it for you. TikTok is a search engine. Done. But it's not just TikTok. The reach of Reddit's grown 47% in the last year. 94% of UK adults have admitted to using YouTube. 54% visit daily. 76% of us use Instagram. 19.6 million use it daily. Gen Zs, going into the generation after Gen Zs, 74% of them admit to using Snapchat. 64% of all time spent online is on that platform. And they're on these platforms, users are discovering your brands. This is where they are finding your products, they're finding the recommendations, and they're essentially discovering you. And this is how it happens. So these aren't platform exclusive. You don't only have to do trend content on TikTok, for example, but it gives you a good indicator of the types of content that are leading this discovery conversation. So we have trends, we have inspiration content, how-to content, recommendations, and reviews that are taking place on your forum type platforms. So we go back to this conversation, we say, okay, we're discovering content on social platforms. It goes back to a Google SERP, which we'll get into in a little bit. This is the whole idea of a search universe, not just a search platform, and as we say, search everywhere. Pattern disrupt. Top tip, you can use Glimpse to ID where these searches are happening across these platforms. So it's okay for me to say to you, TikTok, all these platforms are emerging, but you need to understand where they're happening for your brand. So you can go to Glimpse, which is a Chrome extension on top of Google Trends. I think I've done High Rocks here. God, I need to get some glasses. Yes, High Rocks. So this is an analysis of High Rocks workout, and we can see through Glimpse's channel analysis, which is this section just here, that conversation is over-indexing, which means there's lots of people talking about it. It's a very popular query on Instagram, TikTok, and a little bit of the older folks are checking it out on Facebook. So why should we be doing this? That's what's happening, but why? Well, it's because Google is providing users with friction. So I went to visit Lisbon a couple of years ago, went onto the Time Out Market. If you've been to Lisbon, I'm sure you've checked out Time Out Market. But you go there on their website to look at the best Lisbon restaurants, and that's your experience when you land on that landing page on mobile. There's a lot of SERP fluff. There's a lot of ways that this website are trying to show and give Google the signals that they need to rank. So we have things like bios, descriptions, stuff that helps them get their KPIs met. So we have like call to actions, newsletter, subscribe buttons, all of this good stuff that should be good is actually impacting the user experience on a Google SERP. If we flip the narrative and say, okay, go check that out on social, you're just greeted with solution, you're just greeted with content. It's 1 to 3 seconds to get into your query and get into some content. If you don't like that piece of content, you're not going back to a SERP and then having to scroll and find the next brand that you trust. You just scroll and you're on to the next piece of content. Fun fact, it might scare some folks, we actually scroll and doom scroll the length of the Eiffel Tower every day as a nation. So yeah, fun facts for you. But essentially we have this idea of I go to social search, I'm instantly greeted with a solution. If I don't trust that brand, trust that creator, I can just keep scrolling and find one that I do. And ultimately, we can use this content to save, to share, get it in front of the people that are coming on the trip with me. It's a lot more engageable and it's a lot more lived, and it feels like an intuitive experience as opposed to 10 blue links on a Google SERP. So for me, search marketing is democratizing. There's some reasons that that's happening and some factors that are behind that I'm going to get into to sort of justify why that's happening. The first of those factors is the fact that community can now act as a driver of search. And what this means is us, all as Brighton attendees, I'm sure I've done one yesterday morning, have created UGC content that's gone on our own TikTok channels, on our own LinkedIn platforms, wherever it is, that are all talking about the brand of Brighton SEO. So other SEOs that are not at this event are being exposed to Brighton SEO through our community. That's a driver of search because that then allows those SEOs to discover Brighton SEO, see what all the fuss is about, land on the Brighton SEO website, and hopefully for the Brighton SEO guys, buy tickets or ask their agency or brand to buy them tickets. I've included some brands that are really good at this, and I want to call out Lux Collective in particular, really smashed the TikTok game in particular in terms of growing their community and using that as a driver of search. People will purchase products from Lux Collective and then review and unbox those bags and shoes, whatever it is that they've bought, and use it as a driver. Gymshark 66, social challenge, a real big driver of search. But there's other brands on here as well. Another pattern disrupt. Spoiler, Discord servers now function like a private search engine. So for hyper niche communities, you should be on Discord. And you should have a Discord place. Video game brands have done it, cryptocurrency brands have led the way and proved that it can work. It no longer needs to be the crypto bros and the finance bros anymore. Let's use it for fashion brands, let's use it for these sort of hyper-focused niche communities to get involved. It's a massively untapped opportunity in my opinion, and one that we're going to explore as deviation over the next couple of years. I did click. Second one, content creators and influencers. So SERPs on a Google SERP, are filled with brands, publishers, and there's a high barrier to entry because you have to have this knowledge of web creation, whether it's WordPress, Shopify, whatever it is. You need to know at least some level on how to optimize content and how to create that blog, create those commercial landing pages and get them to rank. So it doesn't necessarily reward the best content, it rewards the best experience in terms of the overall website, not that specific page every time. We have link building and all this other stuff that we have to get into. Content creators have democratized that and they've essentially took the low barrier to entry around social search, and they can basically go and create content, use creator research insights on TikTok or the Pinterest trends function, go and find what people are talking about and just create content and get it in front of their audiences super quickly. So that low barrier to entry is facilitating the democratization of search. This is the most powerful, so personalized experiences. We've all been on a Google SERP, it's probably where we spend a lot of our time as SEOs, but as users, if you think about it, you conduct a search, you forget that you've done that search, or you come back to it in 2 months, 3 months, depending on the user journey, and there's nothing in between until you get that trigger to remind you. On social, we have these personalized user experiences, which mean that if I engage with that first one on the back of a search, these follow-up pieces of content are going to be delivered to me due to the algorithm recognizing that I'm engaging in that content and wanting me to stay on the platform, so it's going to show me more of the content that I like. This means that search journeys can get a lot shorter because I'm constantly getting triggered and exposed to search content. And this brings us nicely to the messy middle. So we've all seen this before, but essentially we have this idea of triggers, exploration and evaluation, almost as a flywheel, but as a figure of 8. We stay in there until someone convinces us or gets us to that decision stage, and then we make a purchase. What we see with social search is that it can exist at that exploration stage, and here's some examples. It can exist at that evaluation stage, and here's some more examples. And that equals discovery. So that middle stage, that middle flywheel, if you like, of evaluation into exploration, that is what we class as social discovery or brand discovery. But But it can also exist at that trigger stage, given the personalized user experiences that I've just mentioned, which mean I forgot completely that I was looking at High Rocks. I've gone and had a Five Guys instead. I come back and TikTok goes, no, Ash, you said you was doing a High Rocks this year. Here's more High Rocks content. So that triggers me getting back into that exploration and evaluation model when I feel guilty for going for my Five Guys. And then what we're seeing more with social search is that actually it can facilitate the purchase as well. So we're seeing the rise and the development of TikTok Shop, especially I want to give a shout out to. It's no longer an Alibaba.com Mark II. Big brands are starting to embrace TikTok, recognize the potential given the factors that I've just gone over, and really speeding up this messy middle to get a trigger on social search, move people through that flywheel, and then facilitate a purchase through TikTok Shop in particular. And this is a bit of a look at that journey. So I mentioned the High Rocks stuff. I decide that I'm interested in High Rocks. Maybe I've seen a friend talk about it at a bar, and believe me, High Rocks people will tell you that they're doing a High Rocks. So they've told me that they're doing a High Rocks. I've gone, okay, I'll check it out. Let me see ski edge. How do I do that ski edge that Sam was on about? Sorry, Sam. Touch point 1 is that how-to tutorial on how to use a ski edge machine. But then the algorithm goes, oh, you're interested in High Rocks? Let me show you a lot more of that. So we're greeted with further content after the search has taken place on my For You page by content by a creator, in this case, Richard Harris, who is like a PT High Rocks athlete, showing his High Rocks run and giving us a bit of a deep dive into what the High Rocks run actually looks like. Go off the algorithm, maybe come back on an hour later, shows me more Richard Harris content. In this example, it's revealed that this Richard Harris athlete has worked with Gymshark, so then I'm exposed to Gymshark as a brand. I then go, oh yeah, actually, he looks really good in them Gymshark shorts. Maybe I could look that good in them Gymshark shorts. Let me go check out Gymshark. I go through to Gymshark and I engage with some of their content, drop off again. Next time I'm on TikTok, TikTok goes, oh, well, now you've told us you're interested in Gymshark, so we're going to show you all this new Gymshark product launches, new Get Ready With Me content, and that's the next For You page exposure is, okay, here's the new Gymshark range, check it out. The next search comes when I go, yeah, all right, you've convinced me, I'm going to buy that shirt. Take the search, I look for Gymshark Get Ready With Me content so that I can see how I'm going to style it, because I am in no way a fashionista. More content there on how to style it. And then, interestingly, Gymshark shorts are not £10. At the moment, you can't go through onto TikTok Shop and purchase that directly from Gymshark on TikTok Shop because they haven't embraced this journey yet. Instead, we'd have to go through and conduct a brand search on Google or buy the fake replicas. So, we go back to what I said at the beginning. In a world where we're searching everywhere, attention is everything, we need to be owning this. Come on, go back, there we go. We need to be owning this as brands, as Gymshark, as the brands that you work at, to demand that attention and make sure that people are buying from us on those platforms. So we'll go back to the messy middle really quickly. Google is constantly putting stumbles and roadblocks in our way there because users have to go back and take a search before that journey can continue. So it's do not pass go, do not collect £200. Instead, what we need to do is we need to create a flywheel. I'm a bit of an F1 nerd. That looks like a bit of a simple F1 track to me in the middle. So let's get our cars, let's get our content, let's get our brand going around that at 200 miles an hour, and then that can facilitate that going much faster and get people to purchase much quicker. Last pattern disrupt, I think. Understand the ongoing conversation via buzz about. So it's okay me going, okay, you need to own this messy middle, but how can you understand what you need to create? Buzzabout is a platform that lets you put in things like High Rocks workout as a topic. It will then aggregate and analyze the social media conversation for the time frame that you've attached and give you pillars to say this is what people are looking and engaging with in terms of that conversation that you've just searched for. So here you can see that if I wanted to rank for High Rocks or if I wanted to get in front of audiences and let them discover my brand, I'd be talking about intense High Rocks routines, the community and the competitive spirit around High Rocks and how that motivates people to get more involved, and minimal equipment workouts. How can you prepare for High Rocks without loads of equipment? The goal of all this, watch time views, shares, saves, product link clicks, comments and Q&As. So there's some KPIs for you to check out if this is your first time being exposed to social search. But most importantly, brands are going to be discovered through that exploration, through that evaluation content on Search Everywhere. But I want to really call out the fact that that's going to facilitate a brand plus term search when a user's ready to convert. So I'm no way saying that Google's dead. It's still going to be there, but brand search is going to become much more important for SEOs, in my opinion, and we should be tracking that, because all of that stuff that you're doing on social search is directly going to impact people taking a brand search, which hopefully you should own anyway, and then facilitate conversion. So let's get into an example. Our client, Bully Billows, wanted to enter a new search conversation. They do things like dog harnesses, dog collars, and all of those sort of dog fashion products, if you like, and dog safety products. They decided that they wanted to get into the natural treats game. So we went on Glimpse and we said which channel would be best for this conversation, and we established that TikTok is the overarching sort of leader in terms of the conversation around natural dog treats, alongside traditional search. We then went on to Buzzabout to quickly understand the intent, the pain points, the wants, aka understand the conversation that's taking place and where we need to show up. And we got to work. We worked with influencers, we worked with content creators, and we put content on our own channel as well. Good to pick a dog brand because everybody loves dogs. But essentially we created all of this content to meet the conversation and meet the pain points of users. And we're starting to enjoy some really early wins. So already we've grown brand search back on traditional search by 4%, which is great. Organic product purchases are 151% up month on month, and revenue is 171% up versus the year-on-year performance of March last year. I am clicking, I promise. And then we're even ranking on the relevant traditional SERPs as well. So we've seen that Google have recognised this journey, and they're starting to include short form videos as part of their SERPs. So Bully Billows has started to rank for natural dog treats with their website, but then as you can see, the videos are starting to be pulled through into the SERP as well, which means the Bully Billows brand is getting more exposure versus competitors across the entire SERP, which means it's dominating the conversation. So to me, this is search, this is curiosity, this is social search discovery. Essentially, this is search everywhere. So yeah, that's my talk today, guys. As I say, if you want to check out that conversation, the slides will be available on social media. Check us out at We Are Deviation across most social platforms. I don't use X anymore. I need to get it off this slide, really. But I am on LinkedIn. Feel free to fire any questions over. And that's me. Thank you.